Imagine stepping into a new world where people speak a language you don't understand, believe in ideas you've never heard of, and live in ways that seem completely strange. That was the experience of Al-Biruni, a brilliant Persian scholar who traveled to India in the 11th century. Despite his intelligence and curiosity, Al-Biruni faced three major barriers in understanding Indian society. First barrier: language. Al-Biruni found it very hard to learn Sanskrit, the language of Indian scholars. Most of the religious and philosophical texts were written in it, and very few translations existed. This created a huge communication gap between him and Indian intellectuals. Second barrier: differences in beliefs and practices. The Indian way of life, its rituals, customs, and social divisions, was completely alien to Al-Biruni. For example, he found the caste system baffling and often tried to compare it with similar social structures from other cultures like Greeks or Muslims. Third barrier: the self-absorption and insularity. Al-Biruni felt that Indians were so absorbed in their own religious and philosophical beliefs that they didn't bother to understand the world outside. According to him, this made dialogue difficult and isolated the local population intellectually. Despite these barriers, Al-Biruni made a sincere effort to study India from a scholarly perspective, often comparing it with Greek, Persian, and Islamic traditions to make sense of what he was seeing. Al-Biruni gave one of the earliest detailed outsider accounts of the caste system. He explained it as a division of society into 4 varnas: Brahmins, priests and scholars; Kshatriyas, warriors and rulers; Vaishyas, merchants and traders; Shudras, servants and manual laborers. He also noted that there were many subcastes, or yatis, beyond the 4 varnas, and that this system governed not just people's work, but also their social interactions, marriage, and daily life. What intrigued and troubled him most was the strictness of caste rules, especially the idea of pollution and untouchability, which he could not find in Islamic or Greek traditions. He saw the caste system as rigid and unjust, yet he tried to describe it as objectively as possible. Fast forward to the 14th century and meet Ibn Battuta, a Moroccan traveler full of energy, curiosity, and love for adventure. When he came to India, it was like a fantasy land, with its vibrant markets, exotic plants, royal courts, and strange customs. Ibn Battuta was fascinated by everyday Indian things that were completely unfamiliar to him. He described the coconut as a fruit like a man's head, with a hard shell, white flesh, and sweet water inside. Something so common to us today was a marvel to him. Then came the pan, or betel leaf. He wrote, "The betel is a tree which is cultivated in the same manner as the grapevine. People would chew it with areca nut and spices." He was amazed at how popular this little item was, and how it was part of daily life and social customs. Through these descriptions, we see how Ibn Battuta tried to make sense of the unfamiliar by comparing it to what he already knew, a clever way of travel writing. Ibn Battuta's journey took him to bustling Indian cities like Delhi and Daulatabad, and he was blown away by their markets full of goods, spices, silks, and luxurious items. Population huge and diverse, with people from all walks of life. Infrastructure. He noted well-built roads, inns, mosques, temples, and public utilities. He observed that Delhi was not just a city of wealth, but also of danger, politically unstable, yet full of grandeur. Daulatabad, which was made capital by Muhammad bin Tughlaq, also impressed him with its planning and architecture. Ibn Battuta's accounts give us a vivid picture of medieval Indian urban life, showing the liveliness, luxury, and complexity of its cities. One of the most exciting things for Ibn Battuta was India's postal system. He described how the postal system worked with horse riders and foot runners who carried messages quickly across long distances. Horse stations were built every few miles, and relay riders ensured messages were delivered without delays. This system amazed him because it showed how efficient and organized the administration was. It was a key factor in maintaining control over such a large empire. Both Al-Biruni and Ibn Battuta show us two different ways of seeing India. Al-Biruni, the scholar, trying to understand the deeper structures of Indian society despite language and cultural barriers. Ibn Battuta, the adventurer, fascinated by the color, chaos, and excitement of Indian life. Their accounts, though written centuries ago, help us see India through their eyes, making history feel like a journey into a world full of surprises and wonder.